Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Moin Hettiarachchi.
And I'm Sharifah Tahir. We take a look at the headlines first.
$121 million from the IMF loan has been utilized to pay back an installment of an Indian loan. A decisive meeting between the Prime Minister and the Election Commission will be held next week. Prime Minister says both March and April salaries will be paid to government servants before the new year. Satasa reduces the prices of 10 essential items. North Korea conducts an underwater nuclear test. Now on to those and more stories in detail. On today's top story, State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya says that the first tranche of the IMF credit facility will be basically utilized for debt stabilization.
Accordingly, $121 million were allocated to repay the first installment of the Indian credit line, which was scheduled to be paid yesterday. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that usually the money provided by the IMF should be deposited in the central bank in order to manage the trade balance. However, the IMF has clearly realized the Sri Lanka's situation and allowed to make payments according to the priority of the government. The government always have discussions with the central bank and utilize these money under mutual agreement. We spend these financial facilities mainly to stabilize Sri Lanka's debts.
The Prime Minister told the Parliament today that more March and April salaries will be paid to government servants before the new year using the funds given by the IMF. The Prime Minister made these remarks today joining the third day of debate regarding IMF agreement revealed by the President to the House. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that the government has a responsibility to hold local government polls as a sum of 10 billion rupees has been already set aside.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the Election Commission has already made a statement in this regard. However, it has no conclusion. As the subject minister, the Prime Minister hopes to call up the Election Commission. Some may say that the government has influence against the Election Commission. The government is facing a severe difficulty in paying month's salary to the government servants before the new year.
General Secretary to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Dayasri Jayasekara, said that the election drags on without an end. Over 3,000 government servants who filed nominations are waiting without salaries.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the government will grant the maximum relief to them that can be made. In the meantime, former governor of the central bank, Indrajit Kumaraswamy, says that Sri Lanka must go ahead with the IMF extended fund facility with a great fiscal discipline to find a solution to the current economic crisis. He emphasized that if Sri Lanka fails to implement the current IMF program, the country has to face severe consequences. He made those remarks while addressing an online forum organized by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Let me first start by reminding all of us where we were a little under a year ago, when there were acute shortages of the most essential goods. There were long queues. 1 or 2 people actually passed away in the queues, and prices were skyrocketing, the exchange rate collapsing, and the inflation was going up, and the central bank was compelled to push rates up dramatically. All this was happening in the last, within 6 months, 9 months of where we are today. So the fact that things have stabilized to a significant extent clearly is a very favorable and very positive outcome. But there's absolutely no room for complacency, because the stabilization has taken place at a low level. The stabilization has taken place when the economy has been contracting by, I think the census statistics number was, I believe, about 7.6% contraction last year. So, I mean, that was better outcome than what was anticipated by the IMF and the World Bank. But still, it is a very sharp contrast. And we need to get to a situation where we have stability, macroeconomic stability, when the economy is growing at, at least 4%. So there's a lot to be done, and we shouldn't forget that. But this is a very commendable place to get to. The fact that the Paris Club has endorsed our efforts to move to debt sustainability, and the Paris Club, of course, includes the G7 countries. Then on top of that, amongst the non-Paris Club creditors, we have India and China. So the largest and most important countries in the world have indicated that they're willing to support Sri Lanka to get back on track in terms of debt sustainability. So that's not a bad place to be. But we have still got some work to do. That's going to be a recurring theme you're going to hear from me. So what do we need to do next now that we've got to this point? One is, I would say that the three most important priorities going forward are going to be implementation. That has always been a weakness for us, and it's a tough program, but we've already done a lot as prior action, but there is more to do, as you would have seen from the documentation that was tabled in Parliament, including some tough structural reforms and institutional reforms. So we need to have a laser-like focus on implementation and go through with the program. Because if the program gets suspended, it would have pretty dramatic consequences. So we need to keep it on track, and we cannot relax. We cannot think that we have achieved more than we really have, and we cannot give up the absolutely compelling need for discipline in a way we have never exercised discipline before. So those things have to be there as we go forward. And you say, what is next for Sri Lanka in the wake of the IMF program? It is discipline and a very different way making economic policy, and in terms of implement what we have agreed to do. People say that the IMF, we've had 15 IMF programs or 16 IMF programs and they've all failed. Well, most of the time, the problem has been lack of implementation on the part of the Sri Lankan authority. So the fault has been mostly ours. Occasionally there's been exogenous factors that have thrown the program off track, but that's in a minority of cases. So we have to do things differently and maintain service.
The Supreme Court completed the proceedings of the petitions filed against the Central Bank Amendment Draft Bill passed to the Parliament by the government.
The Supreme Court announced today the concealed decision will be directed to the Speaker in the coming days. Lawyers of the complaint party completed their explanations when the petition was summoned before the second day this morning. Additional Attorney General Viraj Dayaratne, appearing for the Attorney General, informed the courts that the proposed draft bill will leave room for the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to carry out its monetary policies more independent manner. He pointed out that the accountability in the Central Bank will be enhanced by the new bill. Thereby, the Governor of the Central Bank will be able to carry out his duties independently, disregarding unnecessary influences. In addition, the Solicitor General also pointed out that the bill also allows the Central Bank to function its duties in a transparent manner. It is significant that the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, also appeared before the Supreme Court at this proceedings. Supreme Court judges questioned him regarding certain matters included in the new bill, and the Governor made clarifications for them. 7 petitions have been filed against the controversial bill by complainants including the parliamentarian Udayagam Mampila, Athuriya Ratnathera and several other parties. They have requested the Supreme Court to decide the bill should be passed with 2/3 majority in the Parliament and by a referendum. The 74th birthday of President Ranil Wickremesinghe falls today.
This is a short summary of his social and political career. Ranil Wickremesinghe had his preliminary education at the Colombo Royal College and graduated at the Law Faculty of the Colombo University. He entered into politics in 1977, winning the Biyagama electorate and entered into the Parliament. He was appointed as a Minister of Youth Affairs and Employment of the then government at the age of 28 and became the youngest cabinet minister. Holding the portfolio, he introduced new education reforms and a policy of industries to the country. Ranil Wickremesinghe became the leader of the UNP in 1994. Winning the general election in 2001, he became the 17th Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. Later, he became the opposition leader in 1994 and 2004. He again became the Prime Minister in 2015 under the presidency of Maithripala Sirisena.
The government of Japan provided $1.6 million to the United Nations in support of humanitarian assistance for women most affected by the socio-economic crisis in Sri Lanka. The funding is a part of a new project empowering women in crisis running from February 2023 to December 2023, which will support at least 1,200 women, including their children, who have faced sexual and gender-based violence. It will further support 500 women-led micro-enterprises at risk of collapse and over 2,000 individuals at risk of poverty and malnutrition. Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka, Mizukoshi Hideki, expressed that our goal is to ensure that the women and children, girls who are most vulnerable to ongoing crises are not left behind in response to recovery efforts, and to ensure that their safety and security are prioritized during this time. Through this project, UN Women will provide safe houses with continued access to commodities, including food and other essential items.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena emphasized the importance of harvesting rainwater to preserve water resources for future generations. He made these remarks while speaking at the World Water Day celebrations organized in Battaramulla. Water is inextricably linked to the three pillars of sustainable development, and it integrates social, cultural, economic and political values. US Ambassador in Colombo Julie Chang and State Minister Jeevan Pondaman was also present at this occasion. The USAID has extended assistance for rainwater harvesting programs in Sri Lanka for the last 10 years. Prime Minister said that with climate change profoundly affecting the economies, societies and environment, water is indeed the major resources for any country to achieve the internationally accepted water-related goals and targets, including those contained in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
Water is a fundamental part of all aspects of our life. Water is inextricably linked to the three pillars of sustainable development, and it integrates social, cultural, economic and political values. With climate change profoundly affecting our economies, societies and environment, water is indeed the major resources for any country to achieve the internationally accepted water-related goals and targets. I would like to convey a sincere appreciation for the support given by the United States and the IMF and all our supporting countries. We are coming out of this challenge. Rainwater harvesting is not a rocket science. It is very simple and practical technology which can be adopted by all and everyone. Harvesting rainwater at the catchment level in soils, vegetation and reservoirs offers a means of addressing domestic, agricultural, industrial ecosystems' water needs, while promoting sustainable resource management practices would bring the necessary results, which has been shown. There is also a need to enhance global partnership, to mobilize and share knowledge, expertise, technology, financial resource to support achieving the sustainable development goals through rainwater harvesting in all countries, especially in nations with water stresses.
Today, the U.S. government, through the USAID, is working with the Lanka Rainwater Harvesting Forum to bring good drinking water to Sri Lankans, and bringing clean, safe drinking water to more Sri Lankans is what this forum is all about. Now, World Water Day raises global awareness for the 2 billion people currently without access to safe water all around this planet. So as we celebrate one of the world's most precious resources, it's vitally important that we also focus on ways to manage it for the future. This year's theme for World Day is Accelerating Change. The theme fits nicely as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of U.S.-Sri Lankan relations. And the theme of our year of 75th years of relations is on people, on progress, and partnership. It is, in fact, our partnership with the Lanka Rainwater Harvesting Forum that has accelerated the change needed to bring drinking water to 100,000 Sri Lankans. Across the globe, millions and billions of people in countries and schools, businesses, healthcare centers, farms, and factories still don't have water. And to address these problems, we must go beyond business as usual. To that end, the United Nations asks us all to learn about the problem, not just share what we know, but most importantly, to act responsibly.
The UN Development Programme says that their assistance will be extended to food and livelihood security, green technology and renewable energy projects.
The UNDP expects to conduct 2 projects in this regard. Country representative of the UNDP, Azusa Kubota, made these remarks when she met with Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at Temple Trees yesterday. Attention was focused on the international cooperation at this meeting. The Prime Minister expressed his gratitude to the development programs for the support they extended to the community development sector in Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister also requested the UNDP country representative to extend their support to soil conservation and housing programs in the areas affected by landslides in Sri Lanka.
Numerous social benefit programs were held in line with the birthday celebration of President Ranil Wickremesinghe today. The major program was held at the Sirikota UNP headquarters. A medical camp has been organized at the Sirikota, including dental and eye clinic, treatment service distribution of spectacles and an Ayurvedic clinic. A stall for counseling and providing guidance to obtain foreign employment also established at this place. Meanwhile, UNP Youth Force has organized a tree planting campaign. They also distributed coconut saplings to the public free of charge. Presidential Head of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka said that the President takes part in these celebrations in a very humble manner. The UNP Youth Force and Sirikota staff got together for this program, and he thanks the individuals who extended support to make this program a success.
In the meantime, the Supreme Court ordered today to re-summon the fundamental human rights petition filed against the Electricity Board in the tariff hikes for the 9th of May. The petition was filed by the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission, Janaka Ratnayaka. The petition was summoned today before the 3-member panels of judges including S. Raja, H.M.D. Nawaz and Achala Vennampulli. The Public Utilities Commission and its members, the CEB, LECO and the Attorney General have been named as the respondents of the petition. The petition says although the HE objected to the tariff hike, majority of the PUC members had approved it. The petitioner further said that the electricity tariff hike should be made null and void as it violates fundamental rights of the public. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court also ordered to consider 2 or more petitions filed against the same matter on the 9th of May.
The Embassy of Sri Lanka in Turkey took part in a tree planting event in Ankara under the theme of Earthquake Martyrs Forest 2023 to commemorate the victims of the recent earthquake. Joining other countries and international organizations based in Ankara, First Secretary Priya Nagaraja of the Sri Lankan Embassy attended the event. The event was organized by the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry of Turkey as a part of the International Day of Forests, which fell on the 21st of March 2023. Minister of Agriculture and Forestry of Turkey, Vahir Kirsti, and several other diplomats based in Ankara and some individuals who were displaced by the earthquake attended the event. The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry, in his remarks, expressed gratitude to all the countries which supported Turkey by sending search and rescue teams in the aftermath of the earthquake and reiterated that this event marks the solidarity of international community which stands with Turkey to rebuild the country.
Lanka Satasa has reduced the prices of 10 essential commodities with effect from today. A kilo of dried chilies has been reduced by 120 rupees. The new price is 1,380 rupees. A kilo of garlic has been reduced by 25 rupees. A kilo of sprouts was reduced by 25 rupees to 1,100 a kilo. A kilo of chickpeas has been decreased by 15 rupees. A kilo of local samba rice is now sold at 199 rupees with a price slash of 11 rupees. 425 grams of canned fish is sold at 520 rupees. A kilo of big onions is 119 rupees from today. A kilo of local potatoes is 270 rupees. A kilo of white sugar has been reduced by 7 rupees up to 210 rupees a kilo. A kilo of wonton dal is sold at 298 rupees with a slash of 7 rupees.
Canadian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Eric Walls, made an official visit to Trincomalee today. He met the Governor of Eastern Province, Anuradha Yahampath, and discussed the investment opportunities existing in the province. Canadian entrepreneurs hope to invest in tourism and many other sectors in the Eastern Province. The High Commissioner said that several top government officials were also present at this meeting.
The High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to India, Milinda Moragada, represented a Sinhala translation of the Holy Quran to Ambassador of Bahrain to India, Abdul Rahman bin Mohammed Al Gaud, recently. Earlier in February, High Commissioner Moragada had presented copies of the Sinhala translation of the Holy Quran to Ambassador of Morocco in India. The Sinhala translation of the Holy Quran, published by the Old Ceylon Jamatul of the Sri Lanka, was presented to the Bahraini ambassador of Bahrain in New Delhi. Previously, the High Commission had presented copies of the Sinhala Quran to the Jama Masjid of the Delhi and the Jamaat Ulama-e Hind. In keeping with the integrated country strategy for Sri Lanka's diplomatic missions in India, the policy roadmap of the High Commissioner of Moragada and the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in New Delhi has been promoting dialogue with all major religions in India.
Two children of the same family at Bogada area in Haliala have drowned in a gush of water in a stream due to heavy rain experienced in the area last evening. The victims have been identified as 10-year-old boy and 7-year-old sister. According to our correspondent, at the time of the accident, mother of the children was away from home and returning after a daily labor duty. The police suspect the children may have left home in seek of their mother before the rain.
The Women Adventure Running event, the Raids of Amazon 2023, is being held in Kandy these days. The event is organized by Sri Lankan Airlines for the second time. The players who take part in this event arrived in Kandy on the 21st of this month from Paris. Several running events were held in Kandy during the past few days. The Raid Amazons tournament is a popular adventure event initiated in France. This event is annually organized, targeting foreign destinations. It has been organized for the 21st time this year. This event has been organized in Sri Lanka for the second consecutive year. Cycling, canoeing, archery and many other adventure events have been included in this tournament. The most attractive event of the tournament, canoeing, was held in Victoria Reservoir in Bigana area. The players said rowing canoe for the distance of 14 kilometers is a marvelous experience. Sri Lankan Airlines says that organizing this event in Sri Lanka is a valuable opportunity for the country of this juncture. It may lead to increase in tourist attractions to the island. Several events, including 18-kilometer cyclings, were held in Ridhigame area today. We'll be back with foreign news after a short break.
Attention all 16 to 30-year-old twins. Exciting news. Miss and Mr. Twin Sri Lanka 2023 is approaching. Don't miss your chance to compete for the crown. Closing dates for registrations 25th March 2023. First audition is on April 2nd at PMICH. Contact Sri Lanka Twins Organization via WhatsApp at 070-464-4640. Start preparing for your shot at becoming Miss or Mr. Twin Sri Lanka 2023.
ඔන්න ආයේ cricket fever රටට බෝ වෙලා dream කොත්තුමි එක්කල fun double වෙලා කෙලෝ spicy කුළු හැමි dream කොත්තුමි me big match එක fun කරවයි dream කොත්තුමි me hot and spicy රසද dream කොත්තුමි කනකොට අපරේ beat එකේ නැට වෙයි set එක තාලෙට ගස්සලා boundary උඩින් cup එක උස්සමු දෙයි cheer up කරමු හදවතින් dream කොත්තුමි big match fun dream කොත්තුමි තියනකම්
Attention all 16 to 30-year-old twins. Exciting news. Miss and Mr. Twin Sri Lanka 2023 is approaching. Don't miss your chance to compete for the crown. Closing dates for registrations 25th March 2023. First audition is on April 2nd at PMICH. Contact Sri Lanka Twins Organization via WhatsApp at 070-464-4640. Start preparing for your shot at becoming Miss or Mr. Twin Sri Lanka 2023.
Now to foreign news. North Korea has tested a new underwater nuclear-capable attract drone designed to unleash a radioactive tsunami that could destroy enemy naval vessels and ports.
The country's state news agency said today during a military exercise conducted this week under the guidance of the country's leader Kim Jong-un, North Korea's military deployed and test-fired a new weapon system, the mission of which was to test the ability to set off a super-skilled destructive blasting wave. The news agency said that during the exercise, the drone was put in water of South Hamgyong province on Tuesday and cruised underwater for 59 hours and 12 minutes at a depth of about 80 to 150 meters before detonating in waters off its east coast yesterday. It also said that the underwater drone system is intended to make sneak attacks in enemy waters and destroy naval striker groups and major operational ports.
මෙහෙම දිනන්න මෙහෙම වන්න ක්ලික් මැච් ෆන් ක්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි තියරකම්
Now on to sports news. Colombo Royal College won the annual one-day cricket match against St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, played at the SCC ground in Colombo today. This has been organised for the 46th time.
Batting first, Thomian scored 165 runs, Senadi Bulan Kulana 66 runs. Royalists passed the victory target with a loss of 7 wickets. Rehan Piri 69 not out and Ulindu Veerasekara 50 runs. St. Sebastian's College Motor Tour won the T20 cricket match against Prince of Wales College Motor Tour. Batting first, Prince of Wales College scored 16 runs and St. Sebastian's passed the victory target only for the loss of 5 wickets. The 41st annual big match between Kagalu Vidyalaya and St. Mary's College in Kagalu started today at the Kagalu public grounds. Batting first, Kagalu Vidyalaya scored only 91 runs for the first innings. Tomorrow will be the second day of the match. Sri Lanka Super Series 2023 tournament has been jointly organised again this year by the Sri Lanka Motor Cars and Motorbike Riders Association and the Asian Motor Racers Association.
මෙහෙම දිනන්න මෙහෙම වන්න ක්ලික් මැච් ෆන් ක්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි තියරකම් කොත්තුමි
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.